Hello, thank you for joining us as we discuss infection prevention live. My name is Erica Kramer, and I'm very lucky to be on our senior living team here at Martin Brothers. I'm also lucky to be joined by Rob Fiore, our solutions sales manager, or as I will refer to him endearingly today as our environmental services great poobah. So very knowledgeable and an expert at all of this today. First of all, I want to thank you for all the hard work you're putting into taking care of our seniors if you're joining us from our senior living community, and for everything that's going on during this time for anyone else who's joining us, how we're handling it and coming together to make sure we're all safe. So while we're still learning about COVID-19, one thing experts know for sure is that our seniors are our most vulnerable population to complications of this virus. So that being said, it's an incredibly stressful time for everyone, especially if you're joining us from the senior living community. That being said, we know there's abundance of information coming from all different directions, making it difficult to absorb everything. Also, there's lots of restrictions coming down from CMS and CDC, so it doesn't matter what industry you're in, there's a lot of stuff that's changing right now. The goal of all these guidelines are to keep your residents safe, your guests safe, and yourself safe. And that's our goal as well. We here at Martin Brothers are passionate about the industry and the people that you serve and that we serve. We're doing everything we can to assist in the safety and care of your residents and your guests. Okay, infection prevention. This topic is always important. Doesn't matter if you're joining us from the school industry, senior living industry, restaurant industry. It's important no matter what you're, or just at home, just us, exactly. If you're in the senior living industry, it's the most highly cited area, one of the highly cited areas in your community. But now with the coronavirus outbreak, it's even more important, and that's why we're here today live. I should point out we are live, so if there is a mess up, you'll catch it and we apologize. Everyone listening is part of a team that does an extremely important job, especially if you're caring for our seniors. If you're joining us and you're on the environmental services team in the senior living arena, right now you're a VIP. We need you to listen and reflect on how you're doing things. Be honest if you aren't doing things and procedures correctly. So consider, are you leaving surfaces wet for that 1 or 2 minutes for that kill time that we're talking about? Or are you wiping them down and letting them dry just a little short of the mark that they're supposed to be wet? Are you really hitting all the high touch areas, or are you skimping to save time? You have an important role in the safety of all of our loved ones and yourself right now. If you're joining us and you're not on an environmental services team, don't leave just because we're addressing this right now. We're addressing all issues that are important to everybody. We know that washing our hands is the #1 way to keep yourself and others safe right now. But let's consider, are we really following correct hand washing procedures? Are we vigorously rubbing our hands, or are we being lazy? Are we spending that 20 seconds to wash our hands before we rinse? Or are we saying, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, rinse, and now we have 20 seconds. So these little things that we're talking about today are going to make a big difference in what is happening and what's going to happen in the next few weeks. So today we'll go over hand washing, we'll go over PPE, we'll go over disinfecting, kill times, glove use, a lot of information. And one thing we want to make sure is that you guys, first of all, ask questions. We had a 10 o'clock shift, and we had a lot of really good questions. So please, if you are thinking something or questioning something, definitely ask. Now you have an expert live who will give you those answers. It looks bad. So make sure that you ask questions, or if you have a suggestion or want to share something, definitely put that into the comment as well. We're also going to be showing a couple resources today. Those will be available to you as well. If you go onto our B2B site and you're a customer and you log in, you're going to see a very big box that says coronavirus. It's in red, and I just want to say that you can't miss it. Click on the link, keeps you up to date for everything. So if you're wondering about anything, that's the best place to go. Always reach out to your salesperson or your Martin Brothers contact, but we are updating that in like as soon as we can. So if there's any change, that's where you're going to see it. But we will be posting each of these, a recording from today, as well as if you weren't able to join us yesterday, we did some training on communal dining and the challenges it brings from not allowing us to have our residents together. So that will be posted, as well as the resources that we discuss. So whatever we talk about will be there for you guys. And that's about the last time I speak. It's all Rob now.
All right. Well.
So Rob, a little bit about your background. Why do I call you the Great Poobah of Environmental Services?
You're crazy.
Well,
no, I've been in this industry in sanitation and cleaning for almost 23 years. Prior to that, I came from a food service background where we were still cleaning and sanitizing. So it's something I'm very passionate about and something that I'm very serious about.
Yep.
With that being said, this is a real serious time for us people, and taking care of ourselves, taking care of our residents, our customers, our family members. I mean, it's paramount that we do that. You might find during this time, we might banter a little bit. We might have some levity, kind of lighten the mood, but don't take that as we're not serious about this particular topic and what we're doing. Most of the things we're going to talk about are going to be procedures recommended by the CDC and or the CMS. In essence, we're not reinventing the wheel here, people. We're just going to show you how to drive that wheel in the right way. Okay?
Yep.
Throughout the day or the training, if you have questions, type them in. They'll call them out to us. We'll try to answer them the best we can. Like Erica said, the first session, we had a lot of good questions. We'll try to touch on some of those because we feel they're important. You're probably wondering where we're at. We're at the Solution Center at Martin Brothers, where all the non-foods and service and equipment all come together. Originally, when we put this together, we were going to be in a senior living facility, so we could do a little bit more hands-on demonstration. And
that was 2 weeks ago.
That was 2 weeks ago. So today we're going to do it here. We're going to do the best we can. Okay.
And I do want to point out the reason that changed. Sometimes, like I said earlier, there's so much information. It's hard to get everything to you guys. So if it wasn't communicated to you, or just as a reminder, on Friday, if you're joining us on the senior living side, there were 4 big changes that happened that CMS kind of sent down as guidelines. And one of them restricts all visitors, including family, unless your resident and your loved one is at the end of their life. So it includes non-essential healthcare personnel as well as personnel. So Rob and I are non-essential or non-healthcare personnel. So we can't come in and join you at your communities at all. And neither can our truck drivers. They aren't considered essential as well. So that's why you aren't able to see anybody from Martin Brothers anymore. We can't come in, and it's recommended by CMS to keep your residents safe. Number one goal. We're going to say that probably a couple times today. But that really is what it is. So we miss you guys. We'll see you soon.
And we're out here. You can call us. We're here to help.
We're still here to help. Just can't see you in person. A couple other things they did was get rid of communal dining. So that's why residents now have to either be 6 feet away, 2 at a table, or eating in their own rooms. And they also enforced checking temperatures and screening staff and people that enter into the communities. So any of those essential people that are allowed in are being temped. So those were the 4 big changes that happened on Friday. Hence why Rob said, hey, 2 weeks ago we thought, oh, we'll do this in a nursing community so you can see real examples. And then on Friday, over the weekend, we're like, oh, I guess we're going to make a change here and do it in Solution Center. So
we'll make it work. So
yeah, yes.
We're going to talk about a number of topics. Like I said, none of these should be a surprise to anybody. They've been highly recommended by health organizations, the CDC. Hand washing, we all know it's important. We're going to get in depth to make sure we're doing it right. We're going to talk about PPE, specifically gloves, a little bit more in detail, the fun of cleaning and disinfectants, and answer some questions and clarify a few things about disinfectants because there's a lot of miscommunication and misunderstanding about those. We'll touch on high touch surface areas. Once again, you hear in the news, clean, sanitize, disinfect high touch surfaces. And then we'll also get into some other recommendations as well as some situations with dining room tables, dishwashers, just to kind of clarify a few extra things. So,
Perfect.
Want to start right off by saying, this whole situation has caused an influx in products. Many of you guys have probably experienced that we might be out of this product or that product, and I'm trying to get 4 cases and you're only giving me 1. You want to explain why that's happening?
Correct. We do have items that are being allocated. Just as everyone knows, this started in China, the outbreak of this virus, over 80,000 cases. That's not a secret. And so with that, if you weren't aware, what do you say, 80%, 90% of all of this stuff that we're needing, the masks, the gloves, are produced in China. Most of those factories, a lot of them were shut down during this outbreak. So for a while, they weren't doing any production of the items we need. Then it spread across the country, or across the world. And so now you have low production, and then all of a sudden a huge spike in demand. And so that's what's causing these shortages. A lot of the places that we got these items from would send over 80 big semi-sized, what are they called? Containers, thank you. Oh, I shouldn't touch you. Containers over. And a lot of people think, well, those factories are up and running for the last 24 hours, no new cases in China. That's a great thing. Yeah, they're up and running, but that doesn't mean we're going to throw gloves on a plane and they'll be next day delivery. Those come on ships, and that takes a while. So you're not going to see much of a change possibly for 2 to 3 months. So good news that they're up and running, but that's not immediately going to help us. So we just wanted to let you know about that and how that situation is. A lot of the items we talk about today right now might be out of stock, but we're continuing to get them. So just be aware of that.
Right.
And don't, Rob will go over like how much an item like this can get. Don't hoard this. This isn't pasta or toilet paper or anything else we're seeing.
Which I don't know why people do that either, but.
But don't. I mean, if you just order what you need, we'll be fine. So we just wanted to point that out. But going back to that coronavirus link on our website, if you would go to that link, you will see an updated list on when things do go on that allocated list. So once again, urging you to go to that website or that link on our website.
Excellent. All right, well, we're going to jump right into hand washing, okay? And why are we going through the steps of showing you how to hand wash? Bill, you got a graphic there for us?
I will show that.
So if you see the graphic, you'll notice the different colored areas that are sometimes missed and frequently missed. This means that we're not doing a great of a job washing our hands. And as we get into some of this demonstration, you'll realize how important it is to do it correctly. Okay?
All right, so the number one thing to do is train your staff how to wash your hands, which you might say, we do hand washing training all the time. But you're still probably going to notice people not washing their hands. What are we giving them the approval to do with bad hand washing?
To spread disease.
No, I was going to say to shame them.
Oh.
You can shame them out of washing their hands.
That too. Don't this time especially.
One word, first word.
Don't be afraid to call somebody out. If you watch them and they do a quick little and they're out the door, or they don't wash their hands at all.
Oh, first of
call
all,
them
don't
back.
talk to them again after you shame
Well,
them.
you're going to have to shame.
Oh yeah.
But do it in a polite way.
Just say, hey.
Ask them, explain, hey, it's really important right now. It should be important all the time we wash our hands. But
Correct.
and any of these procedures, if they take shortcuts, it's really important. We need to call them out.
Correct.
And if they don't understand, we can, from this training, hopefully you'll be able to demonstrate or explain why.
Re-educate them. So, when I first started working at Martin Brothers, when we did hand washing, in services. We had a couple of those glow bugs, I believe they're called. They're purple like igloos, and then you had special lotion with a black light, and someone would rub the lotion on, and then they'd go wash their hands, and I'd wash them, and they'd wash their hands not very good, and then they'd come back and show their hands, and it was supposed to have fluorescent spots where they did a bad job of washing their hands, which probably would have looked like this chart you saw. But instead, they would flash underneath, and there'd be no glow, and they'd go, oh, see, I washed my hands good, and in my head I'm going, but you didn't. So I was a little frustrated at the outcome of that in-service. Well, one time, we usually keep those kits here in Cedar Falls, Iowa. We were in a different state. We were going to do a hand washing in-service, and we forgot the hand washing kit. Oh gosh, what are we going to do to prove correct hand washing? And my coworker said, well, we do have a hand washing in-service online, and all you need is oil and cinnamon. We've been talking about this for years at events, and I still go and people aren't aware of this little trick, so I'm excited to share it with such a large group of people. Everybody has oil and cinnamon probably in their kitchen. Don't go out and buy cases of it so that there's none left for everyone to do this trick. But anyway, so go get your lotion or your oil and your cinnamon. Now, we will have this resource, like we said, available to you guys. You can do this in-service or training a couple different ways. A lot of times what we'll do is we'll have everyone just put the oil on, put the cinnamon. The cinnamon is supposed to signify or be the germs and the dirt and the grossness on your hands. It's very hard to get oil off your hands, even harder to get cinnamon off your hands. So if you do not do the correct hand washing and you don't vigorously rub and you don't do the correct time, when you're done washing your hands, you can still see the cinnamon, and it just happens to stick to the places we aren't good at washing our hands. That's in, I call it, do your wingspan. That's in the crooks of your hands and the nails. So you see visually where your germs didn't come off. You can also smell it. So 2 ways to show you didn't really do as good of a job as hand washing as you thought. So you can have everyone demonstrate it and politely call out, still kind of looks like you'd miss spots.
Sorry.
Or you can have 4 volunteers. Now, the hand washing, the in-service we're going to post suggests having 1 person wash their hands using no soap, 1 person wash hands with no rubbing, 1 with cold water, and then 1 accurate technique. We're going to kind of change it a little bit today. We're going to have one of our volunteers use no soap but vigorously rub their hands to see what the outcome is. We're going to have someone else use soap and then just do it for like 5 seconds, or how I like to say how kids sometimes wash their hands. Just cheat the hand washing process, see what the outcome is. Then we're going to have someone use hand sanitizer. This is my favorite one to show because a lot of times people feel like if I use hand sanitizer, I don't need to wash my hands. Rob, is that correct?
That is not correct. Hand sanitizer is not a replacement for good hand washing. It's designed to help you out in situations where you can't go wash your hands. That I touch something, I want to quick sanitize because I can't get over to wash my hands. But it is not as effective, nor should it replace it.
Thank you. So we're going to see what happens to germs when we do this instead. And then we're going to have someone, or Rob, show the correct hand washing process. You won't be able to smell everyone's hands afterwards, but we're going to focus in and you'll be able to see. So let's go over, don't forget our tips, and let's go travel to our sink and demonstrate. We have Renee and Donna with us today, as well as Angie, helping us demonstrate our hand washing. Did you come and see that? Oh, yeah. All right, we're going to use the sink. Oh, good, you guys went to the right spot. Last time we were kind of all clustered in.
I was here for the last one, so I know.
So she led the way.
Yeah.
All right, who wants to go? Well,
I'll just go first since I'm here.
You're going to wash your hands for like 5 seconds. For about, do the 5-second one. Okay. So let's see how using soap.
Get me oiled and germed first.
And then here's all the germs and the coronavirus. And I do want to have a disclaimer, just so you're aware, you will have a dirty sink afterwards.
So now I'm just gonna wash for 5 seconds?
Yep.
Okay.
Or how my husband used to, but he has joined the healthcare industry, so now he does a better job. All right, that's good. You know what? It's hard to not wash your hands correctly when you're used to doing a good job. Let's see. How did Angie do? Well, I mean, I can smell. You guys can probably even smell the cinnamon because there's so much still on it. We
That's
obviously
really
didn't get much of the germs or virus off. It's in the spots almost exactly where we showed on that chart, as well as some other areas.
Yeah.
All right, so she used soap, but we didn't do it correctly. Next, Renee. Step right up, Renee. I feel like I'm up
Hey,
there.
hey, Erica, did you know they did a survey of healthcare workers at hospitals on how well they wash their hands? And you want to know what some of them said why they didn't?
Oh, because they're gross? Tell me, Rob.
They said that they were often too busy and there wasn't enough time to wash their hands, or
Okay, not a thing.
they had skepticism over the value of hand hygiene. That's another one.
All right, that's not a thing either. Hey, just so you guys are aware, Renee is not going to use soap, but she is going to go 20 seconds and she is going to vigorously rub her hands. Okay, what else, Rob?
They said hand hygiene interferes with healthcare workers' relationships with patients. Kind of crazy.
That's kind of the opposite of what I think. If you care about someone, you want them to be safe. Okay.
Some people were very honest and said they just didn't think about it, they forgot to.
Oh, well, that's really bad.
Those are the times we call them out, people.
Yep. Let's see Renee's hand. So Renee didn't use soap. She
did not.
She did the correct vigorously rub up her hands, but let's look.
I'm surprised how much it went up my wrists.
Yeah. And so
And
that's
I
why
still
we
feel
talk
the
about
cinnamon.
the wrist, getting the wrist. But
The hair tie spot.
Renee, you have less cinnamon than what Angie said. Now, we definitely aren't saying, hey, you don't need soap, you just need to rub your hands. But the point here is that the vigorous rub and the amount of time is the game changer with washing your hands. So, a little bit better. Thank you, Renee. Now, I feel bad for Donna because she gets to use sanitizer. So, you will have to wash. So, let's see what happens for all of us who love our bedazzled hand sanitizer and just will die by the sword on that. All right. Yeah, and I'm not saying you can't have a bedazzled hand sanitizer. They're cute. They just aren't a replacement. So we got some dirty hands here. So Donna, you want to grab the sanitizer? So let's see. You can do 6 pumps of it and you still won't do much. So let's see how well we get rid of those germs. And she's doing the vigorous hand rub. I'm going to give her definite points for that. I feel like since we don't have sports on TV anymore, here's your chance to remember what it's like. And she's rubbing the top of her hand, and she's in between the corners. She's going for the full 20 seconds. Going. Still dirty hands. So.
That's
Really, we didn't get rid of any of the cinnamon. We just kind of moved it around a little bit. So you can grab that for now, but you'll have to wait to really wash your hands. So after Rob, great Cuba, hand washer of the century comes in, he's going to show us what the difference is. I think we've talked someone out of ever using hand sanitizer. Okay, let's see. We got the oil. Here's all your germs, your dirty hands, icky.
I'm just going to work these germs in really good.
Really good, so you make it hard.
So.
What can you sing or think in your head? If you're me, nobody wants to hear your voice.
I like Happy Birthday.
Yep.
Say the ABCs a couple times. I was even told there's a very popular prayer that is the exact same amount as well. So.
Oh. And we could use some of those.
We can always use a little bit of prayer. All right, so.
So we will do the correct hand washing. Like I said, I will not sing because we will lose all the audience that is joining us if my voice is heard. You can see Rob's getting in between. Just getting those hands really good.
And get your wrist in there.
Yep, we learned that from Renee. Thank you, Renee.
Those little webbed areas. Have we reached the time yet? I wasn't singing. I forgot.
Yep.
All right.
Fingers.
We've reached it.
Excellent.
I will get you. Don't forget, guys, do not touch the faucet with your clean hands. You kind of defeated the purpose. Another thing I want to point out, if you're in a senior living community or a restaurant, check and see where your garbage is compared to the door. If you do not have your garbage by your door, people are not going to remember to use their wipe to open the door. Or they're going to try to throw it and not make it. Looks pretty good. Let's see the wingspan. Yep, looking pretty good. Around the nails even. All right, correct. Smell. Sniff. Smells like soap.
Sounds
We have a
like
winner. Definite difference. So as you can see, your team, they're going to see the difference, smell the difference. And I feel like they're going to walk away, at least for a few minutes, remembering, yeah, wash your hands correctly.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us for hand washing. Let's venture back.
I feel like some of our team will be correctly washing their hands.
You know, it does say here people don't wash their hands because they don't like how the soap makes their hands feel. And it causes irritation. What else might do that?
If you are not drying your hands completely, so if you do a great job of washing your hands and then you don't dry your hands completely, you will develop cracks in your hands. And that is also making you more susceptible to gaining viruses into your body. So,
Wow.
dry your hands completely, and if available, I would use a lotion that is for, doesn't have a fragrance or anything like that to
Right.
help as well. Especially right now when you're washing your hands as much as you can. I will also point out doing that little oil and cinnamon thing will make your hands very soft. So natural oil. So
Like
it's a win-win. A win-win.
Now I have clean hands, which is awesome. One of the other biggest recommendations from the CDC and World Health Organization is don't touch your face. I know we all get that. Oh, I got to touch my face, or unconsciously, you rub your eye, or you really want to be more conscious of that. So any opportunity that you could have touched something and then you touch your mouth or your nose or your eyes is just an opportunity for any type of infectious agent to get inside you. So
Correct. So now that we've washed our hands, if we're going to do something, what should we maybe include to keep us safe?
well, PPE, personal protective equipment, is a really big thing right now. Probably one of the biggest things we use as a PPE are gloves. Okay. When I talk about PPE or personal protective equipment, it means I'm protecting me. Okay. I don't have a magic glove that once I have it on, all is good and the land is glorious. Anything I get on this glove, I can transfer to another surface just as easily. Okay. So don't think just because you have gloves that everything is great. You want to make sure that you are washing your hands before you use gloves.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make sure that you don't overuse a glove. If you go from one task, say you're patting up hamburgers, and then you want to go over and cut up the onions for it, you need to change your gloves.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you've been doing the same task for a long period of time, you want to change your gloves, washing your hands in between.
Yep.
Okay. And once I'm done with my glove, I want to make sure that I don't risk spreading what I've got on my glove anywhere else. And how we do that is we start at the cuff and we pull our glove slowly inside out, keeping all the bad stuff on the inside, holding it by the cuff, throwing it away, and then going and washing our hands. Okay.
Correct.
Gloves are essential. They're probably the essential PPE that at a minimum everyone should be using to protect themselves. But don't think that that takes the place of one, good hand washing,
And washing again, yeah.
and two, that eliminates you from transferring any type of infectious agents from one surface to another. So
If you are working in the restaurant industry, and if you've gone into a restaurant or a sub shop that does this, a lot of times you will see working on your sandwich, then they'll take your money, and then that poor next person gets their sandwich made with the dirt from the money. So
right,
once again, you have our approval to call them out and ask for a different sandwich.
that's right. So once they get done making your sandwich, they should remove their gloves, take your money, either wash their hands or at a minimum hand sanitize back to
gloves.
production. So some of the other PPE that we have available to use, and granted there's some shortages right now, are face masks, goggles or glasses, which if you're using any type of chemical, I would encourage you to have those so you don't want to get any overspray or anything that can get in your eye. Gowns, face shields, shoe covers, because if you're in an infected area and you're working in there or disinfecting it, you don't want to bring those back out to the clean area. So
how would you put them on? I know this is tough when we don't have it out.
I know. So you're gonna put
really testing the poobah.
you're going to put your gown on.
Yep.
If you're gonna have
Shoe
shoe covers, put those on. Your mask, your goggles, and then your gloves, because your gloves are most important.
Okay.
And then you're gonna do it. Your gown, gloves off, and then the rest off. So,
Okay. So one way on, almost like first on.
kind of
Yeah.
similar, very
Okay.
much. So we've practiced good hand hygiene. We've got some PPE, recommending social distancing, avoiding crowds. It's very important right now. I know people kind of make light of it, but it really is important that during this time when there's so much uncertainty and we're really learning more about this particular virus, minimizing those opportunities for us to transfer from one another is really essential. We're going to get into sneeze and cough etiquette, okay? Because we're all going to do it. And any way we sneeze or cough, we're always risking some type of transmission of an infectious or possible infectious agent. So by no means is there any type of form that is going to eliminate it 100%. We're just going to minimize it, okay?
Yeah.
Obviously, if you cough or sneeze into your hands, you definitely want to wash that.
Not sanitize, wash.
Wash that. That would probably be the least popular thing to do outside of just sneezing right out loud or whatever. If you have a Kleenex, cough into your Kleenex, throw it away, wash your hands, hand sanitize. You sneeze or cough, and this is recommendation, and I think it minimizes it the most, is going to your elbow and coughing. Yes, there still could be some transmission onto your clothing, but it'll be the probably the best way of keeping it from going everywhere else.
Well, and it's the least nobody's like touching things with their elbow either. I mean, that's the least likely place
Right.
you're gonna.
Right. So
If you're doing that, you're just a bad person.
yeah, I mean, like I wish there was that magic way that you could cough or sneeze. What we're trying to do is minimize any opportunity to spread that further out. Okay.
Goes back to also washing your hands. Then.
Washing your hands. All right. Now we're going to get into some of the fun stuff that I really enjoy. And we're going to talk about cleaning and disinfecting. Okay. Whenever we're going to do any type of disinfecting or sanitizing, you read the directions. It says you must apply to a pre-cleaned surface. So we're going to spend the time prior to disinfecting to make sure we're cleaning the surface. You want to choose a cleaner appropriate for the soils you're cleaning, the surfaces. For most of the high-touch areas, things like that, we go with like a neutral type of cleaner so it doesn't harm the surfaces. If you're in the kitchen and it's greasier, you might want to have a little bit heavier products. So we're going to clean first, and then we're going to get into our disinfecting. and sanitizing. And if you see what we have here, we have a plethora of different versions of disinfectants. And disinfectants don't all mean they're the same thing. They do the same thing. We have things that are ready to use. We have things that are concentrate. We have disinfectants that have kill times that are 30 seconds, 1 minute, 5 minutes, up to 10 minutes. Okay? Some of the things they kill are in here. They may not be able to kill here. So we really need to pay attention to what the label says.
Read the label.
Read the label. We have another resource that you will see. These are items that we have that have gotten approval to disinfect the COVID-19 virus. And I will state that they really don't have the exact efficacy for that particular virus, but because it's an unenveloped virus, they are treating any disinfectants that will treat similar viruses as effective.
Because
Okay.
coronavirus is a family, right? And the
Yes.
19 is what they're calling this one.
This one particular one. So, going back to the original statement, we have a number of products here. Right now, we're getting pretty minimal because the demand for these has gone so high.
Mhm.
We do have a lot coming in, so just bear with us as we get them in. If for some reason you are stuck between a rock and a hard place, the CDC recommends using a third of a cup of bleach to a gallon of water for 1 minute contact time. That will get you through. Now, bleach is very corrosive, and over a period of time of overuse can cause damage to your surfaces. Not to mention, if I got it on this shirt, I'd have little orange spots all over it. So I'm going to get into, I'm going to start with the ready-to-use items, okay? This particular item is a product from Clorox. It's called Fusion. It's a very good disinfectant. They came out with this a couple years back. One of the biggest reasons why it's so good is it has a C. diff claim, which not a lot of products do.
Mhm.
Now, if you see, it says it'll kill C. diff in 2 minutes. So don't let that confuse you on when we're going to use it for regular disinfecting. If you read the label, it will say you can take care of all the other bacteria and fungi and viruses with just a 1 minute contact time, okay?
So you don't have to do the max kill.
You don't
time.
have to do the max kill time unless you're specifically targeting C. diff,
Okay.
okay? Once again, you're going to have a pre-cleaned surface. You're going to spray it on, and you're going to let it stay wet for the 1 minute.
The best way to keep it wet is.
Well, for 1 minute, it should stay pretty wet.
Yep.
You make sure you put it on liberally. If it starts to dry ahead of time, you can always apply a little bit more.
Okay.
This is a bleach-based product, but it is a dual-chambered bottle, and one of the sides has a neutralizer on it, which helps take the harsh effects of bleach, but still gives you the killing ability of it. It smells kind of like a swimming pool, not overly powerful. Another ready-to-use that has become really popular is the Purell Surface Disinfectant. This is an alcohol-based disinfectant, but what's unique about this product, it can be used on food contact surfaces without having to rinse it off.
So multi-surface.
And this only has a 30-second kill time. So it's very effective.
It's a pleasant smell.
Yeah.
I use this at home.
When I talk about food contact surfaces, with the exception of this product, anytime you use a disinfectant on a food contact surface, after it's been on for the appropriate contact time, you would have to go over it with a potable rinse to remove any of the residual disinfectants.
So this is the only one you don't have to
That's
do
the
that.
only one you don't have to do that.
Okay.
We get into a couple of concentrates. This has been a very popular one here recently. It's a neutral lemon disinfectant, 2 ounces to a gallon. It is still a 10-minute kill time, so it's a long time to leave it on there, but it can be used on multiple surfaces, okay? I want you to kind of get an idea of all the small print that they have on disinfectant labels, okay? The EPA demands that there's so much that you have to put on a label, and in order to get all that information, it's got to be really, really, really tiny print. So sometimes it may be hard to see what what claims it has on there. They also have efficacy statements, which we have available if anyone would want to see those. We're going to try to post some of those on our link as well, so they know for sure that it will take care of the coronavirus. This is another product that's been widely used. It's the Quat Sanitizer. This is primarily sold as a food contact surface sanitizer.
Okay,
Food contact surface. You'll see these in the 3-compartment sinks. You usually see these in the red buckets, like that one right there. These are designed to be used at 150 to 400 parts per million. This product and this product are usually on some type of dispensing system, so there's no guesswork.
That helps, especially even this time when we have
Even
staff.
me, I can do that.
That would be even me. Even I could do that.
That's right. The nice thing about this product, though, is if you make a heavier dilution, which is 0.78 ounces to a gallon, this can be used as an effective disinfectant,
Okay.
rated for the non-enveloped viruses like coronavirus. Okay.
And Rob, what is the difference between sanitizing and disinfecting?
So when you sanitize a surface, you are effectively removing 99.9% of microorganisms on a surface, which is deemed safe by the health organizations. Now, when we're dealing with some of the kind of nastier situations and we want to disinfect, disinfecting will effectively kill 100% of what they say it will kill, okay? So
you won't leave anything.
So you won't leave anything. But because it's a heavier concentrate, you're going to be leaving a residual on a surface, which is fine if you're talking about a door handle or a light switch. But if I'm on a food contact surface, I don't want to leave that there. I want to rinse it off with a potable rinse, okay?
We have a question about the cleaning and sanitizing process.
Okay.
Some facilities skip the cleaning the surface step and just go straight to the red bucket to quote-unquote clean surfaces. But the correct procedure is to clean the surface by washing with a soap, then rinse with clean water, then use the disinfectant, correct?
That is correct. As you can see,
Thank you. What a segue to our next.
we have simulated the proper setup for cleaning and sanitizing surfaces, food contact surfaces. We have a cleaning solution or detergent. Notice I have a cleaning cloth or towel in that solution. This is all it's used for, is for cleaning. I'm not going to use this for anything else but what's in this bucket.
You can keep this in the bucket or on the side, correct?
Correct. Does not, you can wring it out and have it on the side, that's fine. But it's only used for this bucket. We have a rinsing bucket. It may be blue, it may be gray, but it's designated for a rinse. You have another cloth that's designated. We try to do different colors so they don't get confused. This is when after you've rinsed it off or washed it off, and then what we're doing is we're washing to remove things that we see. Okay? That's the big thing about cleaning. You're removing things that you see, okay? And
Something dried, we're going to get it off.
right. So we've done that, and now we know we have some cleaning agents on there. We take a rinse to rinse off the residual cleaning agents, and then we go to our sanitizer, okay? Notice once again, another different towel. The key thing about a sanitizer cloth or towel is it must be left in the solution.
Okay.
It cannot be wrung out. We can't put it on here. It's got to be remain in there, okay? Once I apply that solution, for instance, Quat Sanitizer, put it down so it stays wet, 1 minute dwell time, kill contact time, and you're good to go.
Don't have to rinse it off.
Don't have to rinse it off.
Away.
Now, you do have some places that prefer not to use this method for sanitizing. They may use a spray bottle. All they would do is start with step 1, step 2, spray this on so it stays wet for a minute and walk away. All right. Here's the most commonly poor procedure I see, and I'm going to pick on restaurants because they're probably the worst at this. is your busboy comes and he gathers everything off the table. There's still food, salt, might be ketchup. Pulls out his sanitizer, sprays it off, grabs the towel out of his pocket, and he moves on to the other table.
And it dries.
So, one, is that table clean, or is it even sanitized? So, very important. I don't want to go out for dinner, or I don't want to be at a place where I can potentially get something off the table. So let's make sure we're doing things right. All right. Anytime we do a
Quick question.
yes.
Last time we had this asked, so we should probably just say it in case someone's thinking it. What kind of towels are these? Are these just plain old terry cloth, or?
These particular towels are microfiber towels. Microfiber, the technology makes them very good for cleaning. You can use less cleaning solution because they pull the soils into them.
Okay.
Most microfibers are washable. You can wash them up to 100, 200 times. Okay.
Just wash them normal.
You can use normal terry cloth towels if you want to for your soap and your rinse. The only thing is with Quat, normal terry towels can reduce the dilution of Quat because of the fabric, or anything that they were cleaned with might stay in that fabric longer. So we do have Quat safe towels that are available.
What about the chick?
They have the chick towels that are already, they are loaded with sanitizer, and you can put them in the water and they create the solution. We also have the certain towels that have a colored strip, so when you put them in the solution, they'll turn blue, and as you use them, if they start to turn yellow, it means you need to put them back in the solution, recharge them, and use them again.
Gosh, even I could get that done.
You could even do
Now I
that.
have no excuse for a dirty house anymore if my husband's watching. Dang it, Rob.
Sorry.
Be done with these.
Yes, I am. Going back to the concentrates, I mentioned we would put them in a dilution system, which is the best way. We set that up so they're metered out the right amount. We put them into spray bottles. Now, it's very important that all the spray bottles have the proper labels on them, okay? I just can't have a spray bottle that says disinfectant or sanitizer or bleach solution, okay?
Why is that?
Because we have new standards in the industry that require us to have the proper labeling. It lists what's in it, the directions, it has sight words, danger. If it's a harmful product, it may have a pictogram to signify what type of hazard it might be. Okay, that is a serious offense if OSHA were to come in or your health inspector were to come in. If I put something in this bottle and didn't label it and set it here, and Erica came up and grabbed it and she didn't know what it was, she could use it for the wrong thing and potentially cause a hazardous situation. Okay? Any product from us that comes from TMA or MultiClean, or we even have some Clorox germicidal labels, we will send those out to you at no charge for buying the product from us. Just get with your salesman. They'll put the request in. We'll mail them right out to you. We do have empty spray bottles available. You can get them by themselves. You can get them as a combo with the trigger, 32 ounce, 24 ounce. I will tell you, we do have a good inventory of them, but like we were talking about supply and demand, the demand's getting up there. Everybody around the nation's wanting them. Our supply's getting a little lower. We just want to make sure that everyone shares the bottles.
You don't need to buy 50.
You don't need to buy 50 if you really only need to have 4. And you really don't need to have 50 of this bottle laying all over the place. Okay? Lastly, let's talk about wipes. Wipes are great. They're a good little quick hit the surface, but wipes can be overused. Okay? Remember, we're going back to contact time, and these need a 1-minute contact time to stay wet. Okay? So that's great if I'm going to do one table. Okay? If I start to extend to another one, that surface is going to start drying, and you're probably going to get some soils from that surface. Even though it should be pre-cleaned, you still might get some. So don't overuse your wipes. And if you're using them on a table situation that looks like it's drying faster, maybe it's warmer, there's a fan blowing, just go back over it so it stays wet a little bit longer. Okay.
What about for high touch areas?
So for these are excellent as we get into talking about high touch areas because they're pretty convenient. You're not having to go around with the spray bottle. They're great to bring around and hit your high touch surfaces. Here's some classic examples of high touch. Probably some of the big ones are your door handles, your light switches. We got some other things over here that people I don't think realize are such high touch. Telephone at the cashier or the nurse's station. Maybe you have a mouse for online ordering or for med dispersion or whatever. These things should be disinfected regularly. And when I say regular,
Station.
the nurses, the
People
counter
coming
where
off
people
of.
lean on, carts that they push, that they're constantly putting their hands on, the push bars to go out the door, the pull handles to come in.
What about the key that hangs outside the door to go to the bathroom?
Absolutely.
I think sometimes that's overlooked.
I believe you're right. Most senior living facilities will have rails that go on the wall to help the people to grab them. Definitely a high touch area you want to make sure you're disinfecting. The remotes in our residents' rooms, or if they have adjustable beds, those type of things should be done. We just want to make sure we're conscious and we're doing that. There's not like a regulation saying you must clean and disinfect high touch surfaces every hour. But let's use good judgment. I would say a minimum twice a shift.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe you don't have to do it at night because there's not as many people that are touching it, but it would just be really good to stay on top of it. And really, if you just make a practice, you can hit quite a bit of them in a short period of time.
So environmental services team, that's why I said VIP right now. Super important
Right.
when doing this.
But the great thing about high touch surfaces, anybody can help
Yes.
do that, okay?
Yes.
And why is it important? Because the quickest way for us to transfer is from touch, okay? We can do our cough etiquette, try to minimize that, but if we touch a door to get in or we turn off a light switch, if that hasn't been disinfected and the last person went there and hadn't washed their hands and then I go to do it regardless of how clean my hands are and I potentially touch my face or touch somebody else, I could risk transferring that infectious agent over. So, very important. Quiet on the questions so far, or do we have some?
Yep, no,
I think we tried to cover a lot of the questions that were asked in the first session with this session. So, but
I know in the first section someone asked about cleaning a resident's room. Do you have to use like a different towel or different for doing one task to another in a room?
In a room, you could use pretty much the same disinfectant in a resident room. You work from the top, the high areas down as dust settles and that. High touch surfaces, bed rails, the bed controls, nightstands, telephone, same. You can use the same towel because it's the same purpose in that room. You would never want to take that towel and go start a second room, okay? So one towel, one task.
Okay.
A room's a task, okay?
A room is a task. Got it.
Correct. If you get into isolation type of cleaning, which is a little stricter, and you have your PPE, a lot of people will go with more disposable so they can just discard it. If they are going to wash it, they are going to want to put it into a biohazard bag for that purpose. So we touched on a number of things today. Last thing I want to talk about would be just clarifying some things with the dining room tables and the dishwasher. We kind of touched a little bit about the dining room tables, how to clean and sanitize them. The CDC does not recommend that you need to disinfect, though some people feel they want to because it's in a more wide open area. So once again, if you use a disinfectant, use it according to the instructions with the proper contact time and the potable rinse, okay? We get a lot of questions, hey, we're really concerned about this whole crisis. I need a disinfectant for my laundry. You don't need to process laundry any different than you do normally. The CDC deems that it's effective and safe. Same thing. We're concerned about this. I've got to go to disposables because my dishwasher's a low temp and I only get 50 parts per million of chlorine. You don't need to process food contact utensils, plates, surfaces any different than you normally do according to the CDC. Okay? So if I have a low temp dish machine, here's the fundamentals of why they feel it's safe. I have a dish machine, it fills up with water. It must be the right temperature, and low temps are 120 degrees. Okay? It adds detergent, it washes and sprays, and it's effectively removing the food soils and any potential infectious agents from the plate. The water that we washed with gets drained out.
Mhm.
A freshwater rinse comes and flushes the tank, then refills back up with fresh water. We add the sanitizer, the rinse agent, we spray it again, and that's just ensuring that if anything was left on there, it's sanitized. Okay?
Okay.
We want to make sure we test our sanitizer. Like I said, 50 parts per million of chlorine. You want to document every shift. My temperatures are good. My sanitation level's good. Okay? Now, if you have a high temp machine, we do some similar things, but it's operated a little bit different. A high temp machine operates with a wash tank. We add detergents to it. That stays kind of a constant, but it's typically rated for 150 to 160 degrees.
Okay.
So that heat itself is going to help kill viruses or make them harder for them to survive, but we're still effectively removing them. That may go down into the wash tank. But remember, that wash tank is only for washing. A high temp machine has separate rinse arms. Freshwater rinse comes in, 180 degree temperature coming through the rinse arm. We are elevating the surface temperature of whatever we're washing up to 160 degrees, which is the minimum surface temperature it must reach to be sanitized. So I'll clarify that because we get a lot of confusion. We use 180 degree rinse water to get the surface temperature of those utensils up to 160 degrees. That's why we have 160 degree test strips. We now have the non-reversing digital plates that simulate a plate. We put it in the dishwasher. It'll simulate the highest temperature that plate gets. If it's above 160, it's properly sanitizing. Once again, we record those temps and do that on every shift. So
And we definitely have temp logs.
we have
that they
temp
can
logs that
find
are
online.
available to
Yep.
it. And there's nothing better when a surveyor comes in or a regional or whatever, and they go over and they see that you're documenting everything. It means you're on top of it, your staff's trained, they're doing the proper things that they should be doing. And most importantly, we're trying to keep our residents safe. So what better way of doing that than just doing the simple procedures?
Correct.
So
I think it's a good time to share with the audience what we'll be releasing soon. It's perfect timing for environmental services competency training, wouldn't you say?
I would
Rob?
say so. It's almost better timing. I will say with the whole coronavirus situation, we've kind of all changed our focus on what we're doing. So we're all spending a lot of time trying to give advice and training and aid and supplies to our customers. So that's our main focus. But we are probably 90% done with a series of trainings and competencies for housekeeping and dietary sanitation. They will be some videos, there'll be some PowerPoint presentations, some reading. Every one of them will have a competency test, so you can use these to help train your staff. You can help coach them when they get things wrong. Let's go back to the training and let them know where they need to make some adjustments. The great thing about being a customer of Martin Brothers, these are the resources we have available for you. So
And State Walk's in the building once they get back up and running. For once, that would be a nice thing because then we know this is over.
right.
Whoever said we want State to be up and running with their annuals. But if they come in and say, well, how do you know someone knows how to read an SDS label? Now you can say, because,
They did this training.
and they passed the test,
And
and they did it on this date.
And they're designed so you can do them in groups, you can do them a one-on-one. We all get new staff in on a regular basis. You don't want to wait for a big staff meeting to retrain everybody. You can sit them down, you can go through it, and you're really ensuring that you got the best staff doing the best practices to keep our residents safe.
You're going to see the training topics. I don't know if we'll remember every single one, but we do have something on hand washing. We have the sanitizing and disinfecting and cleaning buckets. We have dishwashing, laundry, that has a video, the SDS,
Room
PPE,
cleaning, PPE,
room cleaning, isolation
floor
cleaning,
cleaning, so all kinds of training.
blood pathogen cleanup.
We
or what was
discuss
that?
on some of norovirus spill,
Yep.
bloodborne pathogen. Yes.
There we go. I knew that.
So,
Well, would have the answer.
yeah. But anyhow, we were hoping that through this training we could help answer a few questions, maybe give some clarity to the simple instructions that we're being asked to do as just humanity. You know, this just isn't healthcare, it just isn't restaurants, it's just not school, it's everybody. This is stuff you can practice at home. You know, train your family members, your kids,
Put these practices.
put them into place. Good hand washing, number one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Cough etiquette, wiping down stuff. So
Any questions out there?
We do not have any questions.
Silence from the land.
well, thank you guys very much. We appreciate everyone's interest in these trainings. It makes us feel like they are worthwhile for the efforts we put into them, and hopefully they'll be beneficial for you and your staffs.
Thank you for all the hard work you're putting in every day to take care of our loved ones. It's a hard job. We realize it's a hard job. And right now, with the way things are going right now, it's making it even harder on you. So please reach out to us. We might not be able to come see you in person, but we're definitely there for you to help. If you reach out to me, I will be going to him, but you can get a hold of me if you know me.
And if you reach out to your Martin Brothers representative or contact, I have a group of guys that are solution specialists, that this is their world day in and day out, and their whole goal is to come out and help you guys and help your customers, or help your guests.
And I would say that obviously we're focusing on this right now because we have the coronavirus outbreak, but Rob, wouldn't you suggest that once we get through this and next fall comes around, and that's when usually these outbreaks happen, or when influenza hits, would you suggest that maybe we do some retraining of what we've got going on?
Absolutely. I would hope that through this crisis, we don't become short-sighted when it passes, and we remember the good procedures that we put forward, and we don't get laxed on it, because everything we talked about here today, regardless if it's coronavirus, it's going to be effective against the flu, the cold, any other type of situation that may come forward.
All right. Well, thank you again for joining us. We hope you have a good day.